This book is also known as, My Elven Destiny Becomes a God, When the Destiny Comes to the Elven World, I Am Invincible, and 365 Unspeakable Secrets Between Me and Helona. This is a world where elves blend with reality in anime. Li Huowang traveled across time, with his father being the Heavenly King, his mother being the doctor, and his sister being the most outstanding doctoral students of the new generation. Not only was he born in Rome, but he also awakened the destiny blessing system. As long as his elves have a high compatibility with a certain destiny, he can help them embark on their destiny. At the beginning, let the quasi-god Bangila embark on the path of destruction. Millions of tons of heavy punches, one blow cuts every inch of mountains and rivers. Earthquakes can easily trigger a stunning tsunami with just one thought. Let Geng Gui embark on a joyful journey of life, practice the path of happiness, and joke around playing in the world. Let Xanadu embark on the path of wisdom and destiny, condense the wisdom of the world, and illuminate the emptiness of the world. Years later, when the elf deity descended, he wanted to launch a world war. Looking at a big pussy in front of me, I was able to knock down Bandira, who was completely annihilated elf gods. No, who are we gods? Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. 001, Destiny Blessing System, Stepping onto the Path of Destruction. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Donghuang Kingdom, on the outskirts of Beichuan City. In an uninhabited forest. Bangila, 1,000,000 tons of punch. In the forest, with a green and astringent sound falling. I saw a creature that was 3 meters tall, shaped like a small mountain, and dressed in green armor. The left upper hand, which was comparable to a giant stone, suddenly condensed a fair energy. Energy continues to condense, and the surrounding ground gradually begins to crumble and disintegrate. It seems that the energy condensed by this creature is so terrifying that even the ground cannot bear it. As energy continuously condenses, a punch was thrown out. The elf in front of the green-armored creature, which looks like a giant bird, has not yet spread its wings to fly and avoid. I only heard a loud bang. The terrifying energy fluctuations directly bombarded the giant bird in front of me through the air. The next second, the giant bird was knocked into the ground and its eyes were filled with swirling circles. Ding, Bangila defeats the LV-43 beacon. Experience value plus 1222, ding, congratulations to the host. Bangila's level has been successfully raised to LV-60. Li Huowang listened to the familiar electronic sounds in his ears, and his face also showed a smile. Well done, Bangila. The strength has finally risen to the peak of the hegemon. Is it only one step away from reaching the Heavenly King level now? Upon hearing Li Huowang's praise, the green-armored creature on the other side, known as Bangila, also lost its previous ferocity on its face. Instead, there is a kind of foolishness that is not tired of his physique. Class. Li Huowang smiled and said, "Don't be humble, you guy. But the distance from the Heavenly King will also be very fast. You have to work hard. I will find some suitable partners when I obtain the qualification certificate of the elf trainer. I'll take you to play as the 4 heavenly kings of Donghuang." Upon hearing this, Bangila patted the chest of her acquaintance, indicating that she would definitely work hard. Looking at Bangila's serious appearance, Li Huowang smiled. Then he sighed as he looked at Baijiao, who had already passed out lying on the ground. The comparison of the peak potential of the hegemon. Plug and play, unfortunately it doesn't match the fate of my system. Forget it, give it some herbs and let him go. He also walked up and took out some herbs he carried with him to feed it. After a moment, Baijiao, who had just fallen to the ground but couldn't stand up, also regained his consciousness. But now looking at Bangila next to Li Huowang, he no longer had the dignity of beating this intruder into his territory, but instead flew away with a pair of wings flapping twice. As for Li Huowang, he murmured in his heart as he watched the flying eagle fly away. Hey, it's been a year since we've all traveled to this world. Besides Bangila, why haven't we encountered any elves that can adapt to the rest of the system's destiny? Going on like this, gather a team and become the 4 heavenly kings in just over a decade. That's right, Li Huowang is a traveler. A year ago, he traveled to this world where elves blend with reality. However, compared to ordinary travelers, Li Huowang's background is quite good. Father Li Shanchang, a former 4 heavenly kings of Donghuang Kingdom. Mother Zhou Yao, PhD in research on the secret realm of Donghuang Kingdom. I also have an older sister, Li Xueyi. I am currently pursuing a PhD in breeding at the most prestigious Donghuang Academy in Donghuang. So in terms of birth, Li Huowang can be considered to have been born with a golden key. But this beauty came to an abrupt end 3 years ago. Parents exploring the secret realm suddenly disappeared without a trace. Li Huowang suddenly suffered from a loss of heart and was unconscious. Now Li Huowang has already woken up, but he is no longer the same Li Huowang as before. Although his parents have disappeared in this world, Li Huowang's life is still prosperous. Not only do you have your own private villa in Beichuan City, but you don't have to worry about spending money or anything. Moreover, Sister Li Xueyi was very excited when she learned that Li Huowang had woken up. I deliberately put down my complicated academic research and returned to Beichuan City to accompany Li Huowang for 3 months. However, due to the busy academic research, Li Xueyi still couldn't bear to part ways, which led to her departure from Li Huowang. In order to prevent Li Huowang from feeling lonely again, she deliberately used her network to build relationships and allowed Li Huowang to legally hold the elf in advance. You should know that elves appeared in this world 100 years ago. Although various countries have experienced the development of the times and relaxed the qualifications for obtaining elf trainers in order to explore the secret realm and protect the country, minors are still prohibited from owning elves. However, Li Huowang's father was ultimately the 4 heavenly kings of the previous Donghuang Kingdom. Upon further reflection on Li Huowang's experience, the country ultimately approved Li Xueyi's application. And the Bangila in Li Huowang's hand was given to him by Li Xueyi. But when it was given away, this Bangila was just a newborn child. It should be noted that among the elf species, Bangila is a quasi-god and is also known as a late bloomer. This type of elf grows very slowly, and generally, it takes at least 10 years for a Bangila to evolve from childhood to the end. But now Bangila has been in the hands of Li Huowang for a year. As for the cause, it is essentially due to Li Huowang's system. That's right, as a traveler, Li Huowang has a system. The name of the system is the Destiny Blessing System, which can allow the elves held by Li Huowang to embark on the path that suits them. Destiny, this is a concept from Collapse. Starry Railroad. The path of the gods, walking alongside them, will surely receive their gifts. However, this destiny is not something that can be set by Li Huowang's elves. There is also a saying of compatibility between elves and destiny. Nowadays, Li Huowang has encountered not only tens of thousands but also thousands of elves. But unfortunately, the only one that can adapt to one's destiny is the Bangila gifted by one's own sister. The fate of adapting to Bangila is undoubtedly the most destructive path of destruction. Don't underestimate Bangila, he only has the pinnacle of power as a hegemon now. But if you really put in all your strength, even the heavenly king level existence can easily be slain under the horse. In addition, Li Huowang's system also has 2 additional capabilities. Experience acquisition and information reading. Thus, Bangila was by Li Huowang's side, and in just 1 year, she rose from her childhood to the pinnacle of dominance. Originally, Li Huowang was quite optimistic about the eagle that had just fought against Bangila. But unfortunately, the other party's compatibility with the remaining destiny is only 13%. You should know that the compatibility rate between Bangila and destiny is as high as 99%. So Li Huowang released Baijiao. Watching Baijiao fly away, Li Huowang sighed a bit, but soon he also glanced at the time on his watch. Is it already 12 noon? Forget it, let's not continue to wander in the forest. I have to go back to school in the afternoon to adopt elves and prepare for the Elves College entrance examination. I hope to find one with high compatibility with Destiny in the exam sprites provided by the country this afternoon. If you don't even have this, then you'll have to wait until you get into Huowang Academy and then go find your sister to get one. As the murmur fell, Li Huowang's mind recalled his handsome and beautiful sister, who was cheap. He whispered, I don't know how her research is going. I hope she can succeed. After speaking, Li Huowang turned around and looked at the silly Bangila beside him, saying, Bangila, let's go. We're back in Beichuan. 002, Zhang Ming's ridicule. Adaptability to happy destiny. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Beichuan Changle Middle School. Beichuan City ranks first in both teaching resources and strength. Even within the province, Beichuan Changle High School has great value. Although Li Huowang was unconscious for 2 years, he was ultimately the son of the previous 4 heavenly kings. Sister Li Xueyi's energy is also very high. Therefore, I still entered Beichuan Changle Middle School as a transfer student. Lao Zhang, I heard that your father has already helped you with your special training plan for the next 3 months. That's not it. Zhang's father, that's the only Daoguan owner in Beichuan. In terms of status, the Fang family should be polite to Zhang's father. That's right. I think after the school distributes the Pokémon game today, with the personal guidance of Master Zhang, Brother Zhang may become a dragon in the face of adversity. Brother Zhang, if you become the 4 heavenly kings in the future, don't forget a few brothers. In Class 1 of senior high school, Li Huowang, who had just returned to school, walked to the door and heard the flattery of those people in the class. Later, Li Huowang saw several people in the class gathered around a young man with a center comb. And the young man in the middle seemed very satisfied with the praise from everyone. The boy's name is Zhang Ming, the father's name is Zhang Qian, and he is the owner of the Beichuan Daoguan. Both in terms of strength and fame, Zhang Qian has great value in Beichuan City. Since childhood, Zhang Ming has naturally lived a comfortable life in school due to his father's reputation. Before Li Huowang entered this class, Zhang Ming had always been the class bully. But Li Huowang doesn't care about it. After all, for him, his interest is not in this small Beichuan Changle Middle School. He is also not in this small city of Beichuan, but his goal is to become the 4 heavenly kings of Donghuang and even ascend to the throne of champion. Li Huowang naturally doesn't care much about goods that are somewhat arrogant because of their family background. However, Li Huowang doesn't care about Zhang Ming, but Zhang Ming really cares about Li Huowang. After all, since Li Huowang entered the 1st and 3rd classes of high school, he has directly given up his position as the top student in his class. Li Huowang always suppresses himself in every exam. Once or twice, Zhang Ming used Li Huowang as his opponent to compete. But over time, Zhang Ming, who has always been praised, naturally harbors resentment. Therefore, when he saw Li Huowang walking in, he, who was originally smiling, also restrained his expression and walked towards Li Huowang. I said, Li Huowang, how did you come? Is it difficult to know that today is the day to collect elves? Afraid of revealing one's true form after receiving the elf. Listening to Zhang Ming jokingly speaking, Li Huowang gave this guy a blank look with his silly gaze. Zhang, I am very busy every day. It's not like you, big or small. If you boast every day, you can become the 4 heavenly kings of the alliance. Don't be fooled by Li Huowang's white and pure appearance, he looks like a weak scholar. But he's not that easy to deal with. Faced with Zhang Ming's trouble, he naturally turned back in a merciless anger. Moreover, Li Huowang's opening was filled with a gunfire aura, clearly indicating that he was an old master of yin and yang. Zhang Ming is not a fool, so he naturally recognized Li Huowang's strange energy. Although I was very angry in my heart, the thought of collecting elves later. His lips were also wildly raised and he said, "Indeed, although I cannot use my lips to become the 4 heavenly kings. But at least I have a dad. My dad said that after receiving the elves this time, he will give me special training. Li Huowang, it is said that your parents are missing. What a pity. How about I find my dad to blend in and let him teach you as well?" Li Huowang smiled and said, "Forget it. Your father is just the owner of the Kitagawa Dokukan. In the rating of Donghuang country, they are only second-rate vocational trainers. If I were to learn from your father, maybe I wouldn't even be able to get into Donghuang Academy. Donghuang Academy, the most powerful elf academy in the entire Donghuang kingdom. A holy land that countless trainers aspire to. Zhang Ming's father's strength is not weak, but from Li Huowang's perspective, he is very skilled. Not to mention being compared to his already missing cheap dad, even if Li Huowang takes out Bangila, the other party cannot compare. Moreover, although Zhang Ming's father is now the owner of a Taoist temple, he was unable to even get into Donghuang Academy at that time. For Zhang Ming's father, this has always been his regret. For Zhang Ming, now that Li Huowang has revealed this regret, it can be seen as hitting his face. Just as Zhang Ming was about to say something more in anger, a man walked into the classroom. Cough, everyone fell silent and returned to their seats. Prepare, the distribution of our classes elves will start soon. The man's name is Shen Tao, the class teacher of Li Huowang and Zhang Ming. As soon as he spoke, Zhang Ming naturally dared not say anything else, but gave Li Huowang a fierce look. Then he returned to his position. As for Li Huowang, he was also too lazy to pay attention to Zhang Ming and instead looked at Shen Tao on the podium. I have already mentioned to everyone yesterday about the issue of elf collection. Remember that this elf is the one you are about to use in the elf college entrance examination. We must cultivate a deep emotional connection with it. If there is a situation where elves do not listen during the Elven college entrance examination, even if your performance is excellent, the country will confiscate the elves you have nurtured for a long time. Also remember not to replace your Pokémon with Pokéballs during this period. If it is detected that the Pokémon ball has been changed during the college entrance examination, even if you are an adopted Pokémon today, your eligibility will be invalidated. The qualification of an elf trainer may not only be obtained in the elf college entrance examination, but you should remember that the elf college entrance examination is the easiest opportunity for you to obtain the qualification of an elf trainer, so please seize it more. Alright, that's all I have to say. The staff outside the door, please move in the box where the Pokémon balls are placed. As Shen Tao's voice fell, several staff members quickly walked in. And these staff members are basically each carrying a suitcase. After all these staff members entered the classroom, they also opened their suitcases uniformly. Immediately after, a series of red and white colored elf balls with metallic luster appeared in front of everyone. Seeing these Pokémon balls, all the students in the class were excited for a moment. It is obvious that they have been waiting for this day for a long time. Especially when Zhang Ming saw these Pokémon balls, he also instinctively looked at Li Huowang with his eyes, while feeling cold in his heart. Li Huowang, wait for the elf. I'll let you know what a true genius is. However, Li Huowang didn't take Zhang Ming's gaze to heart. Now he is staring intently at a Pokémon ball in a suitcase. Because he suddenly saw a large line of characters on this suitcase. This elf has a compatibility rate of 98% with Happy Destiny. 003, choose the 5th suitcase. Li Huowang is crazy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 98%. I'm just thinking about it. Did I really have to wait? Looking at the elf ball in the suitcase, Li Huowang was shocked in his heart. You should know that apart from Bangila, he has never seen an elf that can adapt to Destiny with a compatibility rate of 70%. But now there suddenly appears a Destiny adaptation rate of up to 98%. Can Li Huowang not stare? As Li Huowang fixed his gaze on the Pokémon ball, The system started, and in his eyes, detailed information about the elves in the Poke Ball also appeared. Ghost's gender. Male sign, attribute. Ghost, poison, growth level. LV11, normal initial, feature. Floating, skills. Hypnosis, tongue licking, ghost face, teeth for teeth, potential. Leader mid-term, PS, elf strength division. Young, normal, elite, leader, commander, overlord, heavenly king, champion, leader, and divine. Is it actually Gaisai? However, it is normal for this to be compatible with a happy destiny. Looking at the information from Gaisai, Li Huowang muttered to himself in his heart. The path of happiness is different from the path of destruction. The path of destruction is a purely offensive path. As long as the destructive heart is strong, it can basically adapt. It can be considered the simplest path to adapt to. And the path of happiness is different. This destiny is also known as the path of the happy person's destiny. Only those who enjoy seeking pleasure can embark on this path of destiny. Gaisai, a ghost-type elf, loves to play tricks on people the most. Although the path of happiness is not just about playing tricks on people, the purpose of this behavior is still to seek happiness. Therefore, this ghost has such a high compatibility with a happy destiny. However, the compatibility between ghosts and joy is high. But this guy has one flaw. That's because the potential is very weak, only in the middle of the leader's career. You should know that the one defeated by Bangila in the morning has already reached the early stage of commanding. If someone encounters such a thing, they will definitely feel very painful. After all, is it not uncomfortable to find someone who is compatible with one's destiny, but now their potential is not enough? But for Li Huowang, low potential is not a problem. Because once Gaisai merges with happy destiny, his potential will automatically increase. At that time, Bangila's potential was not very high, just in the mid-stage of the Heavenly King. But as soon as she embarked on the path of destruction, Bangila's potential reached the mid-championship stage. You should know that the gap between the Heavenly King and the champion is even greater than the gap between childhood and the Heavenly King. So, if Bangila can make such a big improvement, it means that the potential improvement of ghosts will not be too weak. So, potential is not really a disadvantage. In fact, besides ghosts, there are also many elves in these suitcases with stronger races and potential. For example, the unicorn rhinoceros in the early days of the hegemon and Casey in the later years of the commander. But the compatibility between these elves and fate was too low, so Li Huowang didn't even take a second look. Instead, they all fixed their gaze on the elf ball containing the ghosts. These are the Pokemon balls you can claim today. Our Beichuan Changle Middle School has always respected the strong as the top priority. So, we will collect the elves' rewards from top to bottom based on their grades. Speaking, Shen Tao slowly opened the final transcript of the previous semester. The first recipient, Li Huowang. As Shen Tao's voice sounded, everyone in the class turned their attention to Li Huowang. There was a clear hint of envy in the eyes of these people. You should know that the school's arrangement of 5 suitcases is not arbitrary. But rather, the elf qualifications and potential in each suitcase are different. Although people in this world do not have systems like Li Huowang. But the potential of elves can be inferred from the strength of their parents. The offspring produced by the combination of the hegemon and the hegemon are highly likely to become the hegemon in the future. Dragon-born dragon, phoenix-born phoenix is naturally this principle. The first suitcase to enter the classroom contained the group of elves whose parents had the best abilities and had already demonstrated good talents. The second suitcase is almost there. The third and fourth, let alone the fifth suitcase, are naturally the worst. Although the school did not explicitly state it, this has been an unchanging rule for many years. Upon learning that Li Huowang could be the first to receive an elf, the class members naturally envied him. Because this means that Li Huowang was able to receive the best batch of elves. Faced with the gaze of the crowd, Li Huowang was not nervous, but quickly walked towards the podium. He just walked towards the direction of the podium, which immediately stunned everyone in the class. Because Li Huowang was not the first suitcase to enter the classroom, but rather the last one. Seeing this, not only the students were stunned, but even Shen Tao was a bit confused. Li Huowang, did you go the wrong way? That's the first suitcase over there. It's obvious that Shen Tao is still quite concerned about Li Huowang, he hinted. Upon hearing Shen Tao's relationship, Li Huowang remained silent and walked straight towards the fifth suitcase. Immediately, he held the elf ball of ghosts in his hand. At this moment, Li Huowang, who was originally feeling a bit nervous, finally breathed a sigh of relief. Because he knows that this Pokémon ball belongs to him from now on. At the same time, the ghost in this Poké ball is already his companion. At this moment, holding the elf ball in his hand, Li Huowang looked at Shen Tao and said, "No, teacher. I'll just choose this child." Upon hearing this, Shen Tao also said dumbfounded, "Well. Li Huowang, selecting elves is about a lifetime. Are you sure you don't release the elves in the suitcase and choose one that satisfies you? You should know that the elves in the suitcase can be released." But now Li Huowang not only chose the fifth suitcase, but also blindly selected it. At this moment, Shen Tao naturally became a bit tense. Because he's a bit confused about the impressive transfer student in front of him now. After all, Li Huowang's performance is very normal on weekdays. For a moment, Shen Tao couldn't help but recall the case he received when Li Huowang entered his class. Li Huowang, male, has been suffering from heart loss and coma for 2 years. Looking at Li Huowang in front of him, Shen Tao couldn't help but murmur in his heart. Is it difficult for this Li Huowang to go crazy again? 004, Ahaxu Shadow. Ghosts embarking on a joyful journey. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Li Huowang is not crazy, but Shen Tao is not sure. But at least now, Li Huowang's behavior are very normal, and his logical thinking is clear. But Shen Tao couldn't figure out why Li Huowang chose the worst elf. Are you trying to prove your cultivation and training abilities? Although puzzled in his heart, Shen Tao didn't ask much because it was Li Huowang's own decision. Li Huowang, this is your own decision. Once you go back on your word in the future, there will be no way out. Shen Tao gave a final warning. Li Huowang smiled and said, I understand, Teacher Shen. Upon hearing this, Shen Tao didn't say much. Instead, he waved his hand and said, since we have already received the elves, let's register downstairs. Upon hearing Shen Tao speak, Li Huowang walked out of the classroom. Watching Li Huowang leave, Shen Tao shook his head and let out a sigh in his heart. I hope this child will not regret his arrogance in the future. Then Shen Tao glanced at his transcript and his voice rang out again. Next up, Zhang Ming. Sister, I'm Li Huowang from Class 1 of Grade 3. I have already collected the sprite, come and register the information. At this moment, there was a large truck parked below the teaching building. In the carriages of these large trucks, there are 2 or 3 staff members. These people come from the Beichuan Elf Trainers Association. They came here to handle the procedures for collecting elves for students like Li Huowang. If not processed, the information cannot be filed and therefore cannot participate in the Elf College entrance examination. Is it from Class 1 of Grade 3? Is the speed so fast? Those staff members just went up, didn't they? Li Huowang selects elves very quickly. There are a total of 13 classes in this teaching building for the 3rd year of high school. Now Li Huowang is the first to come out, which naturally causes the little sister in front of her to be stunned. I'm just picking faster. Faced with doubts, Li Huowang spoke truthfully. However, the staff lady didn't ask much and quickly received Li Huowang's message. Then, Li Huowang completed the registration with his ID card presented. Alright, Li Huowang, classmate. The elf you received is Gaisai, and it has now been registered in the back end of the Donghuang Elf Trainer headquarters. Never change the Pokémon ball before taking the college entrance examination, otherwise the score will be invalidated. Upon hearing the little sister's reminder, Li Huowang nodded. Okay, since everyone knows, you can leave now. Upon hearing this, Li Huowang expressed gratitude and turned to walk towards the school's training ground. Training ground, a separate training room. Li Huowang held the ghost spirit ball he had just received and immediately threw it. Come out, ghosts. With a sound, soon a seemingly illusory elf, resembling gas, appeared next to Li Huowang. Ghosts. As soon as Quasi appeared, this guy seemed to know that Li Huowang was his master, and quickly approached him with a pleasing and courteous expression on his face. Seeing this scene, Li Huowang was also dumbfounded. It was obvious that he did not expect the ghost in front of him to be so humanized. But just as Li Huowang was about to reach out and touch him, the ghost C, who had just shown a seductive expression, suddenly changed his expression and directly used his skill ghost face towards Li Huowang. Skill. Ghost face, non-aggressive skill, but the user will fall into a state of fear and confusion. To be honest, Li Huowang has a lot of courage, but you should know that Quasi releases the skill ghost face. Therefore, his ghostly face directly scared Li Huowang to the point where his heart was pounding and even his face turned a bit pale. And Gui seems very satisfied with his prank. For a moment, he also leaned against Li Huowang and burst into laughter. If you let Ghost play such a trick on others, you may be very angry and think Ghost doesn't respect you. But for Li Huowang, Quasi's approach made him a bit excited. Because he knew that the ghost in front of him was indeed very compatible with a happy destiny. Therefore, looking at Quasi in front of him, Li Huowang smiled and said, Quasi, it seems that you really enjoy pranks, right? Since that's the case, have you ever thought about going further in developing more fun pranks? Upon hearing this, Quasi was taken aback, clearly not understanding what Li Huowang meant. Just as Quasi was puzzled, Li Huowang didn't hesitate. A huge shadow instantly appeared behind him. And this shadow is none other than the happy star god Ahaxu, who has evolved from the system of destiny blessings. Immediately after, a playful yet sacred voice like a clown entered Quasi's ear. Hee hee, the joy of pranks. I really like it. How's it going? Are you going to embark on my happy journey? After speaking, the happy star god extended his arm towards Quasi. At this moment, looking at the happy star god in front of him, it was obvious that ghosts had not yet understood what was going on. However, Quasi could feel that if he accepted the invitation from the guy in front of him, he seemed to be able to gain stronger power to create happiness for himself. For a moment, driven by his original intention, ghosts ignored the arm of the happy star god. Instead, it directly sank into its body. Sensing Ghost's actions, Ahaxu let out sharp laughter again. What an unexpected act. Ahaxu, you really lose face. Ahaxu, you really lose face. Although speaking without face, one could tell from the laughter that Ahaxu seemed very satisfied with Ghost's strange behavior. Because the energy on the entire giant phantom is constantly converging towards the Ghost's body. It took about half an hour for Ahaxu's shadow to gradually fade away. Quasi's figure reappeared before his eyes. With the appearance of Quasi, a brand new message about Quasi appeared before Li Huowang's eyes. Ghost's gender. Male sign, attribute. Ghost, poison, growth level. LV11, normal initial, destiny. Joy, level 1, feature. Floating, skills. Hypnosis, tongue licking, ghost face, teeth for teeth, misfortune never comes alone, potential. In the early stages of the championship, sure enough, my guess is correct. With the blessing of a happy life journey, Ghost's potential has indeed greatly increased. This leap has elevated from the leader's mid-term to the champion's early stage. Moreover, I have also learned a new skill. Evil never comes alone. Looking at the information appearing in the system in front of him, Li Huowang murmured. However, Li Huowang here is very satisfied with the changes in Gaisai. On the other hand, Gaisai is also very satisfied with his changes. Especially the energy that didn't enter my body just now. The silk feels a bit too smooth. And he can feel that if he wants to have fun. Using these skills on your own seems to increase your power. For ghosts, this is naturally a novel thing. Gus, from today on, we will be partners. Speaking, Li Huowang reached out his hand to Gaisai and said. Upon hearing this, Gaisai smiled at Li Huowang, and then he even used the gas around him to gather a hand and shake hands with Li Huowang. Seeing this, Li Huowang was a bit stunned. The next second, Gus's mouth burst into laughter. It is obvious that he is very happy about Li Huowang's surprised performance. However, at the same time, Li Huowang could also keenly sense that Gaisai had recognized his master from the bottom of his heart. 005, Arrogant Zhang Ming. Ghost Gemstones delivered to your door. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Have you heard about it? Li Huowang, the transfer student from class 1 of senior high school, is crazy. Is it really fake? I saw him when I returned to school at noon, doesn't it look quite normal? Don't you know yet? That Li Huowang, who was clearly the top student in class 1 of senior high school, didn't choose so many excellent elves in the first suitcase. In the end, he chose the elves in the 5th suitcase. Are you saying he's crazy? Sleeping trough. It's not that Li Huowang was mistaken, is it? Isn't the 5th suitcase full of the trash elves? It said that there will still be some problematic elves inside. Who knows? But it said that Zhang Ming from class 1 picked up a big bargain and adopted an iron-armored rhinoceros whose parents' generation was at the level of a hegemon. It said that Zhang Ming is the second oldest student in class 1, but this time I think he's going to make a complete comeback. The elf of the overlord level father generation, and also the iron-armored rhinoceros with extremely strong initial combat power. I'm afraid this year's elf college entrance examination will allow Zhang Ming to fulfill his father's unfulfilled wish and enter Donghuang Academy for further studies. Li Huowang just walked out of the training ground here. He heard many people on the training ground talking about him. Listening to the words of these people, it is obvious that they are very confused about their choices. Why would I choose the elf in the 5th suitcase when my grades are so good? However, in the face of these confusions, Li Huowang only touched the Pokémon ball where the ghost was placed and smiled, without explaining anything. After all, he couldn't tell others that he chose the 5th suitcase because there was a ghost with the potential to reach championship level inside, could he? As for listening to others talk about himself, Li Huowang doesn't care either. Now that Ghost has embarked on a happy journey, he just wants to leave school and go to the suburban forest to test Ghost's true combat power. However, just as Li Huowang was about to leave the training ground, a loud and playful voice sounded. Oh, isn't this Li Huowang? I didn't expect you were still at school. I thought you went crazy and jumped into the river because you chose the wrong suitcase. Listening to the familiar voice in his ear, Li Huowang frowned and followed the sound to see Zhang Ming approaching. But now he is accompanied by an elf, a well-developed unicorn rhinoceros. Zhang Ming, are you causing trouble? Faced with Zhang Ming's provocation, Li Huowang directly pointed it out. Oh, it seems like you're not going crazy. You also know that I'm here to provoke you. But what if I don't go crazy? The selection of elves has ended, and everything has become a foregone conclusion. It's no use regretting now. Listening to Li Huowang's words, Zhang Ming burst into laughter. Immediately, he also turned his gaze to the armored rhinoceros on the side. Do you see it? This is an armored rhinoceros, and both parents' generation are dominant beings. He is exactly what I carefully selected from the first suitcase. How about it, do you like it? As he spoke, Zhang Ming boasted about his unicorn rhinoceros. It is obvious that he seems very satisfied with his unicorn rhinoceros. However, upon hearing Zhang Ming speak so, Li Huowang was overjoyed. What's there to like? It's just the remaining elves I picked out. I can only say that he is indeed good, but not to my taste. And I have already selected the best one. As he spoke, Li Huowang took out the elf ball from Gaisai. And Gaisai seems to know that Li Huowang mentioned himself. For a moment, he also emerged directly from the Pokémon ball. Then he made a funny face for Zhang Ming and the armored rhinoceros in front of him. Although Gaisai's strength may not be strong, with the blessing of happy destiny, he now unleashes his skills and grimaces to create more fearful emotions. Therefore, when Zhang Ming made this grimace, he was immediately frightened and let out a "wow," his face turning pale. As for the unicorn rhinoceros, he was also scared by ghosts and took several steps back in a row. Seeing the appearance of Zhang Ming and the unicorn rhinoceros, Xueyi immediately found joy and burst into heartless laughter. Looking at Zhang Ming in front of him, Li Huowang also sensed pleasure. His lips also became harder to press than AK and began to rise wildly. Moreover, due to Zhang Ming's exclamation, the attention of everyone around him was also drawn. To be honest, Zhang Ming is arrogant, but this guy has very thin skin. It was obvious that he had been insulted by Li Huowang when he saw others staring at him and he looked so embarrassed. Because in his opinion, Li Huowang's behavior was intentionally embarrassing by Gaisai. So, looking at Li Huowang in front of him, Zhang Ming gritted his teeth and said, "Li Huowang, what if you play tricks on me? Can this represent that you are really powerful? To me, it's obvious that my unicorn rhinoceros is stronger. How about, if you want to prove it, do you want to have an elf battle with me?" As soon as Zhang Ming heard it, he couldn't hold back and wanted to regain his place through a battle. Li Huowang, who seemed to have been infected by Gaisai and became fond of finding fun, blinked and smiled, "Are you fighting? Is this okay? But since it's you who came to fight against me, it's a bit unreasonable if you don't add some extra points, right?" As he spoke, Li Huowang's gaze turned to the pendant with a dark purple gemstone around Zhang Ming's neck. "I see that the gemstone pendant around your neck is pretty good. Why don't you use this as a bet with me?" In fact, the dark purple gemstone on this gemstone pendant is not an ordinary thing. This thing is a very precious ghost gem that contains abundant ghost energy. This kind of thing can be considered a good treasure for ghosts. As for the origin of Zhang Ming's pendant, it was given to him by his father. Because Zhang Ming's father started by cultivating ghost-type elves. It was precisely because of obtaining this ghost gem that I was able to barely become a professional trainer. Then, relying on his own network, he became the owner of the Beichuan Daoguan. So when Zhang Ming heard that Li Huowang wanted his pendant, he was also surprised and instinctively covered his chest. It's obvious that he doesn't want to gamble with his own pendant, as it can be considered a family heirloom. Looking at Zhang Ming's appearance, Li Huowang sighed and said, "Hey, if you don't want it, then don't want it. I kept saying that the ghost I adopted was a garbage elf. The unicorn rhinoceros you adopted is the best elf. I didn't expect you didn't even have the courage to fight me, did you? Hey, it seems like you only have the ability to talk big." As he spoke, Li Huowang looked at Gaisai beside him and said, "Gaisai, let's go." Upon hearing this, Gaisai seemed to know Li Huowang's thoughts. The personified face also showed a look of disgust towards Zhang Ming. To be honest, Zhang Ming can still tolerate Li Huowang's strange energy. After all, the two of them had been arguing for a while, and Zhang Ming produced antibodies. But now that Gaisai was so angry, Zhang Ming couldn't hold on to the fire in his heart. Because in Zhang Ming's heart, Gaisai is just a garbage elf, how can he bring shame to himself? So, Zhang Ming, who was still calm just now, gritted his teeth and immediately shouted, "Bet, bet." 006, School Flower Fang Ruoxue. Read Zhang Ming, Li Hua. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ruoxue, there seems to be a lot of people watching there. It looks like someone is engaged in a elf battle. Let's go and take a look together. In the training ground, a girl dressed in casual sportswear looked at a battlefield surrounded by many people, and curiously pulled the girl in a white dress beside her and walked over. The girl in casual sportswear is named Xueyi, from class 6 of grade 3. The white dress girl's name is Fang Ruoxue, and she also comes from class 6 of grade 3. However, Fang Ruoxue's identity is a bit special compared to Xueyi, who was born into a small bourgeois family. Because Fang Ruoxue is from the Fang family of the Beichuan elf family. The Fang family is currently the largest elf family in Beichuan. Although the Fang family has not produced any Heavenly King level figures, why not have many family members who live in the Fang family's vocational training? Don't be fooled by Zhang Ming's father being a third-rate vocational trainer, he is already quite impressive. But there are a total of 17 people in the Fang family. In addition, there are 8 second-rate vocational trainers and 3 first-class vocational trainers. So the Fang family, let alone in Beichuan, is very powerful even in Jinling province. Hey, isn't this Zhang Ming? Why is he fighting? His opponent is. Which class's transfer student? Approaching the battlefield, Xueyi was also somewhat surprised to see the players from both sides. For Zhang Ming, Xueyi is familiar, but for Li Huowang, she is not familiar. In her understanding, hasn't Li Huowang always disliked talking? After all, Fang Ruoxue and the school flower of Fang University approached Li Huowang several times, but they didn't even pay attention. So in Xueyi's understanding, Li Huowang should have a rather cold personality. Now the two of them are actually fighting, which naturally surprised Xueyi. As for Fang Ruoxue watching the two of them fight, she also blinked her eyes. Few people know about Li Huowang's identity throughout Beichuan Changle Middle School. Apart from the principal, only Fang Ruoxue knew that Li Huowang was the son of the former 4 heavenly kings. Don't worry, Fang Ruoxue is very energetic in Beichuan and even Jinling. But she knew that her energy was still much worse than that of Li Huowang. Born into a family, she is bound to learn some habits of flattering the strong from her family elders. Therefore, when Li Huowang first arrived at school, Fang Ruoxue came to look for him and wanted to get to know him. Although Fang Ruoxue was the school belle, at that time, Li Huowang was all focused on training Bangila. Therefore, he never paid attention to Fang Ruoxue once. Actually, ignoring it once is okay, but Li Huowang has ignored Fang Ruoxue 5 times in total. As the old saying goes, things can't go too far. This has happened 5 times. Although Fang Ruoxue wanted to make friends with Li Huowang, she was also born into a noble family and had a bit of her own pride. So she hasn't taken the initiative to talk to Li Huowang again in the past 6 months. However, regarding Li Huowang's situation, Fang Ruoxue still inquired privately. Everyone in class 1 of grade 3 thinks that Li Huowang is very strange and rarely talks. If I have to say it, this is also between Li Huowang and Zhang Ming. However, this is not because the two of them have a good relationship, but rather because Zhang Ming often provokes Li Huowang. Li Huowang always uses a sharp tongue to break through Zhang Ming's defense. So when Fang Ruoxue saw the two fighting, she didn't feel strange. She was just curious why the two of them were fighting. Could it be that they had another argument? So, Fang Ruoxue looked at the students beside her and inquired about the situation. What? Are you saying that Zhang Ming has been mocking Li Huowang for collecting garbage elves with his mouth open and mouth closed? And then these two people started to take action. Listening to the general explanation from the students beside her, Xueyi was also somewhat surprised. But isn't Li Huowang the oldest in class 1 of senior high school? How could he possibly receive the garbage elf? For Li Huowang, Xueyi doesn't know as much as Fang Ruoxue, but she still has a rough understanding. In theory, shouldn't Li Huowang receive a very useless elf? However, when someone told Xueyi that Li Huowang's ghost spear had been collected from the 5th suitcase, Fang Ruoxue was stunned. After all, the elves in the 5th suitcase are widely recognized as the worst. Li Huowang surprisingly claimed the elf from the fifth suitcase. Does this guy remember the wrong order of collection? Upon hearing this, Fang, Ruoxue and Xueyi turned their gaze to the battlefield. However, the scene that occurred in the battlefield made the second daughter even more confused. Because in the battlefield now, the ghost of the fifth suitcase is actually fiercely beating the unicorn rhinoceros of the first suitcase. Are you sure this ghost is from the fifth suitcase? Others may not be able to tell what knowledge this battle has. But Fang Ruoxue comes from a family of elves, and she has watched various battle videos since childhood. So for elf battles, she may not be particularly familiar with them, but she can also be considered a little insightful. So, in Fang Ruoxue's view nowadays, it seems that Quasi is brutally beating a unicorn rhinoceros. But every time the unicorn rhinoceros had a breath left, he would stop even if he could catch up with the victory. Then he began to sway around, looking like he was evading an attack. Actually, it's like playing with a unicorn rhinoceros. Moreover, this situation has occurred more than once, but only twice or 3 times. Every time ghosts attacks, they are very precise, and that blow is just enough to keep the unicorn rhinoceros fighting without damaging its brain. Seeing this, Fang Ruoxue felt like her brain was a bit down. Good guy, you said this ghost was picked up from the fifth suitcase. When will the fifth suitcase be able to supply such a perverted elf now? The 6 tales I received from the first suitcase are not so outrageous. At this moment, just as Fang Ruoxue looked at Li Huowang and Quasi with a bewildered expression on their faces. In the battlefield, Li Huowang watched Ghost C, who had played with the unicorn rhinoceros many times and is still laughing in the battlefield, and also looked at Zhang Ming, whose face was already swollen to the point of almost breaking through the defense in the distance. He knew it was time to harvest the juice from the fire. Ghosts, let's solve the battle like this. Misfortune never comes alone. Listening to Li Huowang's instructions, Ghost C seemed to have had enough fun. The ghostly energy inside him, who was still mocking, instantly surged. The next second, a cloud of spiritual fire was directly penetrated into the body of the unicorn rhinoceros by the ghost. This time, the spiritual fire is far more powerful than countless previous attacks. And the one-horned rhinoceros, which had long been in dire straits, finally lost its combat ability and gained understanding under the attack of Quasi. Ding, ghosts defeated the unicorn rhinoceros of LV11. Experience value plus 45 at this moment, looking at the unicorn rhinoceros that had lost its combat ability, and then looking at Zhang Ming in the distance, he said, Zhang Ming, your unicorn rhinoceros has lost its combat ability. Are we going to fulfill our gambling agreement? Upon hearing this, Zhang Ming instinctively touched the gemstone pendant, which looked very unpleasant to Li Huowang. But in a second, Li Huowang's voice rang out again. Don't you want to give it? If that's the case, then I'll go to Beichuan Daoguan tomorrow and find Zhang Qian's main residence. My own father, Zhang Ming, knows he is a shameless person. If Li Huowang goes, although he feels uncomfortable in his heart, he will definitely give the gemstone pendant to Li Huowang. Even, he would scold himself for it. Finally, Zhang Ming suddenly took off the pendant from his neck and threw it to Li Huowang. You keep it safe for me, I will win it back. After putting down his harsh words, Zhang Ming put away the unicorn rhinoceros and left directly. It is obvious that the feeling of being played with and applauded by Li Huowang today makes him very uncomfortable. Li Huowang, who took over the ghost gemstone pendant, looked at Zhang Ming's departing figure, and the corners of his mouth also slightly raised. If you only have this strength, I'm afraid you won't be able to win back in your lifetime. After speaking, Li Huowang looked at the ghost gem in his hand and threw it to the nearby ghost. Take in the energy well. And Gus, who had already been drooling over the ghost gem, swallowed it in one gulp. As for the battle, Li Huowang is very satisfied with Quasi's performance. It is obvious that this guy has a very high compatibility with happy destiny. He knew that he was not fighting for victory, but for fun. But the joyful journey he embarked on, so this can help him unleash his strongest combat power. In this regard, Huowang can only say that he truly deserves a 98% compatibility with happy destiny. This ghost himself did not find fault. Starting from today, I will be preparing for the Elf College entrance examination. So the school has also started a holiday, and students are preparing for the exam on their own. Huowang is preparing to go home and report the good news of his upcoming Elf College entrance exam to his elder sister. A clear and gentle female voice sounded. "That's student Huowang, please wait a moment. I have something I want to talk to you about." 007, the secret realm of the back mountain of the school. Sister, Xueyi. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The person who spoke was none other than Fang Ruoxue. However, upon seeing Fang Ruoxue, Huowang showed little interest in her. Instead, a polite smile appeared on the face. "Fang, I have something else to do. If you're treating me to dinner, then there's no need." Huowang was about to refuse himself before he could speak carefully. Fang Ruoxue was also a bit angry in her heart. After all, she is also a beautiful woman. In terms of beauty and charm, she claims to be no worse than some beauty stars. But she couldn't understand why Huowang in front of her didn't even have the idea to chat with her. You should know that others are looking for Fang Ruoxue to eat, but that's not the way. Although she felt a little angry in her heart, Fang Ruoxue was ultimately born into a noble family with a general understanding. Even if she refused, she looked at Huowang in front of her with a faint smile on her face. Li misunderstood. "I'm not here this time to have dinner with you. Just wanted to ask, there's an event at school in 3 days, do you want to come? Does the school have activities?" Listening to Fang Ruoxue's words, Huowang blinked. He had never heard such rumors, so he was curious in his heart. What activity? Huowang is preparing to figure out what kind of activity it is, and if it is beneficial for him, he will participate. If it is not beneficial to oneself, simply refuse. Upon hearing Huowang speak so, Fang Ruoxue also knew that Huowang was interested in this activity. So she slightly raised the corner of her mouth and immediately said, "Li, have you ever heard of the secret realm?" Secret realm. Upon hearing Fang Ruoxue speak, Huowang was taken aback. The secret realm is naturally clear to Huowang. Because his parents in this lifetime have disappeared into a secret realm. The secret realm is something that elves come out of. However, based on the information currently known to Huowang, that place should not be called a secret realm, more bluntly it should be called a passage, as the destination of the passage is another world. It is said that there seem to be indigenous people in that world. As for the reason why it is still called the secret realm, it was called like this from the beginning. Another thing is that countries around the world have very strict control over the secret realm. Not to mention ordinary people, even vocational trainers don't know much about another world. What Huowang knew was from the documents left by his mother. To be honest, these pieces of information can be considered top secret for ordinary people. However, Huowang is very curious about the secret realm. One is his curiosity about what kind of world the other is. Secondly, he wants to know why his parents went missing. But unfortunately, Huowang searched for the secret realm for a long time, but did not find any. So now when I heard Fang Ruoxue talk about the secret realm, it naturally aroused Huowang's interest. What do you mean by this? Upon hearing this, Fang Ruoxue could tell that Huowang knew the secret realm. So she didn't show any interest, but instead smiled and said, "It's not very interesting. Our school's back mountain has been under lockdown all along. The reason for speaking publicly is that there is a powerful elf life inside. But in reality, there is one of the 48 secret realms within the territory of the Donghuang Alliance in the mountains behind our school. In order to attract more outstanding students from Beichuan Changle Middle School, the principal specifically asked me to search for outstanding students to form a small team and participate in the training for the next 3 months. So, I want to invite you to join the team. I wonder if you're willing or not. Upon hearing Fang Ruoxue mention this, Li Huowang couldn't help but be surprised. It was obvious that he had not anticipated the secret realm he had been searching for all along, which was actually in the school where he was studying. As for the invitation from Ruoxue, Li Huowang naturally won't refuse. When will we gather? Li Huowang asked. Fang Ruoxue was stunned. She didn't expect Li Huowang to speak so bluntly. But seeing Li Huowang agree, Fang Ruoxue also knew that her task had been completed. Therefore, with a faint smile, he said, 3 days later, at 8 o'clock in the morning, the school will gather. Upon hearing this, Li Huowang nodded. Got it, I'll come then. After speaking, Li Huowang didn't chat with Fang Ruoxue anymore and turned around to leave. At this moment, looking at Li Huowang's back, Fang Ruoxue's beautiful face had a complex expression and she murmured. This Li Huowang. He's really a strange guy. Sister, this is the elf I received today, Ghost. Say hello to my sister at Gaisai. In a detached villa in Beichuan City. Li Huowang sat in front of the computer, watching the young woman wearing a white coat and thick black framed glasses on the screen. Although young women dress a bit unkempt, their spirits seem to be somewhat depleted. But even so, this young woman is visibly beautiful to the naked eye. To be honest, if this photo were to be spread, it would definitely be hotly discussed as the most beautiful researcher on the internet. And this young woman is none other than Li Huowang's sister, Li Xueyi. Now that Li Xueyi has just finished her research, although she is a bit tired, when she saw her younger brother call, a bright smile still appeared on her face. At the same time, he looked at the ghost beside Li Huowang and said, "Hello, ghost." Gaisai seemed very happy to know Li Xueyi, and he politely waved his fictional hand towards her. "Haha, Xiao Huang, it seems that the ghost you adopted is quite polite." Li Xueyi smiled. "That's not it. Sister, don't you care who selected the elf?" Li Huowang farted. Alright. Don't be stingy with me." Li Xueyi glanced at me and said, "Tell me, are you asking me for money or something else this time?" Li Huowang was the son of the former emperor. Although his parents went missing, the two of them still left a lot of money for their family. Not considered wealthy to rival a country, but the family wealth has also exceeded 1 billion. However, Li Huowang is currently underage, and this money has always been kept by Li Xueyi. Although Li Huowang asked for money, his sister gave it to him. But cultivating this kind of thing for elves is indeed a bit expensive. Not to mention anything else, let's just talk about Bangila. With his physique, he can't afford to eat for less than 3,000 yuan a day. So Li Huowang calls Li Xueyi every other day, basically just to ask for money. Therefore, when she called again today, Li Xueyi instinctively thought that Li Huowang wanted money again. "Sister, that's not right. As a younger brother, I miss my sister, so I can't make a phone call to ask. But if you really want to give it, sister, then give me another 100,000 yuan. I still have some savings in hand now. But that guy from Bangila is so delicious." A few days later, the school organized us to go to the secret realm to experience. "You give me some money, I'll just save some food for Bangila." At this moment, Li Huowang was speaking on his own. Just now, Li Xueyi looked a bit lazy, and with a smile on her face, her spirits suddenly shook. Immediately, he looked at Li Huowang in front of him with a serious expression. "Huowang, you said you're going to the secret realm in a few days." 008, Li Xueyi's research proposition. Trainer, sure. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yes, sister. Faced with his sister's inquiry, Li Huowang naturally replied without realizing the seriousness of the matter. However, upon hearing Li Huowang's response, Li Xueyi, who had just smiled, immediately became indifferent. "Huowang, I don't allow you to go to the secret realm. That place is not where you can enter now. Even with Dad's strong abilities back then, wasn't he still missing in the end?" Xueyi has never had a good impression of the secret realm. In her opinion, that was just a cemetery. Since the establishment of the 4 heavenly kings' position in Huowang Kingdom, a total of 57 people have been born. And out of these 57 people, a total of 18 went missing in the secret realm. It's said to be missing, but even discerning people know those heavenly kings actually died in the secret realm. Besides the high mortality rate of the heavenly king, the mortality rate of the champion is also not low. At present, there have been a total of 9 champions in Huowang Kingdom. One of the champions clearly died in a secret realm, while the other champion was seriously injured and has not yet awakened. Therefore, upon hearing that Li Huowang was going to the secret realm, Xueyi naturally showed her strong determination to prohibit Li Huowang from entering. Because she has lost her parents and doesn't want to lose her only living relative in front of her. Looking at Xueyi with such a tough attitude in front of him, Li Huowang was not a child. He realized that his sister's emotions were not right. He didn't choose to be stubborn, instead he chuckled and said, "Sister, I was just joking. The secret realm is so dangerous, how could I possibly go back? I have already pushed away the matter of entering the secret realm. If you don't believe me, can I call you every day to check?" For women, Li Huowang knows not to argue against them and can only coax them. But as for whether to enter the secret realm or not, Li Huowang's legs are long on his body. If he wants to go, no one can stop him. Upon hearing Li Huowang coaxing herself like this, Xueyi breathed a sigh of relief. "Huowang, it's not that sister doesn't recognize your strength. The secret realm is just too dangerous." Li Huowang smiled and said, "Sister, you're good to me, don't I know yet? By the way, sister, stop talking about me. How have you been doing with your research lately? Are there any new breakthroughs in elf breeding? I'm still waiting for you to give me a powerful elf." Xueyi is a graduate student in breeding at Huowang University. She was said to be a graduate student, but in reality, the amount of knowledge and abilities she currently possesses has reached the level of a doctoral student. And it's also the kind that is at the top level globally. It's just that her research topic has never been completed, which is why she couldn't be promoted to a doctoral degree. That's so simple there. There are too many unstable factors on Ibrahimovich's body. I've been having a headache lately because of this. Upon hearing Li Huowang talk about his own affairs, Xueyi also stroked his head to express a headache. Because today's data came out, her research failed again. Looking at the appearance of his elder sister Roast, Li Huowang knew that the fact that he had entered into a secret place was a myth. Although Li Huowang is a traveler, he knows a lot about elf knowledge. But when I thought about my older sister's research topic, how to stabilize Ibrahimovich's genetic factors, even Li Huowang, who is a traveler, cannot provide any advice. After all, even he had never heard of this kind of Ibrahimovich. Therefore, as Li Huowang watched the old lady in the video, he could only offer comfort that as long as he worked hard, he would definitely succeed. I chatted with my older sister for another period of time. After Li Huowang successfully obtained 100,000 yuan of activity funds from his elder sister, he directly opened his phone and opened the online shopping app. Immediately, at the shop where he often bought elf food, Li Huowang placed an order for Bangila for 10 more days as usual. Suddenly, only over 70,000 yuan remained. Besides Bangila having to eat, Ghost naturally needs to replenish energy. However, ghosts are intangible things, they have no substance, and it seems that this energy supplement cannot be obtained through ingestion of food. Therefore, the inability to buy food successfully stumped Li Huowang. Hey, what do ghosts want to eat? You can't suck in your own essence every day, can you? To be honest, if Ghost is a mother, the essence and energy absorption will also be absorbed. I happen to have excessive yang energy and then absorb some yin energy to come back and neutralize it. The bad thing is that Gaisai is a public servant. If he really allows himself to absorb his essence, it's really a bit impossible for me to do. These are all jokes. I didn't know what food ghosts should eat, but Li Huowang didn't think much and directly opened the customer service of Meow Meow Food House. Excuse me, is there any elf food suitable for ghosts to eat in the store? Meow Meow Food House, this is the name of the shop where Li Huowang often buys elf food. This shop was recommended to him by Xueyi and is a private customized shop for elf food. Li Huowang is not sure about the specific situation, but the elf food provided by this store is of very high quality. Not only can it help the elves absorb enough energy, but it can also help them replenish more nutrients. Although Li Huowang's Bangila has completed its final evolution, it is essentially not yet of age. An adult Bangila has an average height of 2 meters, but Li Huowang's underage Bangila has already reached 3 meters. This is enough to show how high the gold content of the food provided by this Meow Food House is. As for the only drawback, it may be expensive. But as the old saying goes, there is always a reason for being expensive. However, these are just idle talk. Seeing the food provided by the other party can take care of my Bangila so well. And this is also a private customization shop, so he was curious to ask if the other party could make ghosts food. It took about half a minute for Li Huowang's message to be sent. The other party replied to the message, but the first response was not text, but a picture. The picture is a blank table with detailed information about elves and cultivation directions. Then followed a cold line of text. Fill it out and send it to me. Seeing that the other party didn't even have a kiss, Li Huowang could only express that those who were capable were indeed masters. It's clear that the other party is doing business, but they can still pull it this way. But who would say they have the ability? Seeing ghost food can solve it. Li Huowang quickly filled out the information in the form and sent it to the other party. However, there has been no response for more than 10 minutes since the message was sent. Li Huowang thought the other party was standing up for him. But not long after, a text message with about 100 lines was sent over. To be honest, seeing these long words gave Li Huowang a headache. But if you look closely, you will find that the message sent by the other party is about ghosts' food pairing ideas. There were many different things that Li Huowang didn't recognize. But in the last few lines, Li Huowang didn't feel sleepy anymore. The cost of food is 571 pounds, and Ghost's daily usage is half a pound. The best use date for this food is 10 days if there is a demand. Just pay directly through this link. The message ended, and soon a payment link was sent over. See the exaggerated price in this quotation and payment link. Li Huowang instinctively swallowed a mouthful of foam. Good guy, 571 pounds. Bangila's food is only 30.1 pounds, okay. At first, Li Huowang believed that Gaisai's food should not be worth a few dollars. But now Gisa's meal expenses are directly on par with Bangila's. This naturally made Li Huowang feel a bit sore. But egg pain can't help but buy, Ghost always has to eat. As he finished paying, Li Huowang looked at the 100,000 yuan he had just received before it was heated up, and he spent more than half of it just buying food. He couldn't help but sigh, and his heart trainers are truly deserving of being hailed as the money-burning profession in history. 009, is the secret realm terrifying? No, this is for leveling up. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 3 days later, Beichuan Changle Middle School. Is this the back mountain now? I didn't feel big before, but getting up now can be quite tiring. In the back of the mountain, Xia Wan'er followed the army to the back of the mountain, and breathed roast. There were a total of 17 people present, except for Xia Wan'er, who became very tired from climbing the mountain. Most of them are similar to Xia Wan'er, and now they are also panting heavily. After all, these people are all students, and they don't even notice their lack of exercise on a daily basis. But once they climb up this mountain, it will take their lives. However, the vast majority of people have become exhausted from mountain climbing. But Li Huowang's spirit in the team is very abundant. This is not a deliberate feature of Li Huowang. It's just that his physical fitness is better than these students. After all, Li Huowang doesn't just squat at home and play electric games every day after school. Instead, they will train with Bangila. In the first half of the year, these trainings were conducted in the yard at home. But as Bangila's physique and strength continue to strengthen, since half a year ago, Li Huowang has been taking Bangila to the forest outside Beichuan City for training every evening after school. At first, Li Huowang couldn't bear it, but over time he got used to it. Although it may seem uncomfortable for others to climb mountains, for Li Huowang, this is only 1/3 of his usual physical activity. However, except for Li Huowang, who doesn't look very tired in the team. There is another person who looks very relaxed, just like Li Huowang. This person's name is Mu Yang, a student in class 3 of senior high school. Like Li Huowang, he only transferred to Beichuan Changle Middle School a year ago. As for the specific origin, no one knows. I only know that Mu Yang has strong abilities. Similar to Li Huowang, the school immediately occupied the top spot in class 3. But it's different from Li Huowang, who has Zhang Ming as a troublemaker in the same class. The people in class 3 seem to be very afraid of Mu Yang. As for the reason, it's probably because this guy transferred to another school. He achieved a strong record of putting 8 people from class 3 into the hospital. Thinking of Mu Yang's formidable close combat ability, Li Huowang felt that it was normal for him to climb such a small mountain without getting tired. So, they walked towards the depths of the back mountain for about 10 minutes. When the vast majority of people were already exhausted, the old man leading the team stopped in his tracks. The entrance to the secret realm has arrived. As the old man's voice fell, Li Huowang looked at the very normal environment nearby and felt a bit confused. Has the entrance to the secret realm arrived? Where is it? Why didn't I see it? Not only did Li Huowang have such confusion, but the other students present also looked bewildered. Only Mu Yang's expression was calm. Teacher, are you sure this is really the entrance to the secret realm? Why didn't I see where the entrance was? Looking around, Fang Ruoxue asked in confusion. When Fang Ruoxue asked this question, the others present also nodded one after another. Except for Mu Yang, who doesn't blush, doesn't jump, and looks calm. Faced with Fang Ruoxue's questioning, the old man was not angry, but instead said calmly, the secret realm is said to be a secret realm, but essentially it belongs to a connecting channel with another world. Therefore, this channel is not as you imagine it to be a cave or a tunnel with a physical form. On the contrary, the door to another world is illusory. After speaking, the old man picked up a stone from the ground. Then he casually threw it towards the front, and the stone disappeared in front of him. Immediately after, everyone noticed that a ripple like a stone entering the water suddenly appeared in front of what seemed normal just now. However, this ripple is not in the water, but actually hits directly in front of everyone. Seeing this, Li Huowang, who had just been a bit stunned, couldn't help but take a deep breath. It's so magical. Is this another entrance to the secret realm? For the secret realm, Li Huowang himself is full of curiosity. Therefore, when I first met him, his interest was directly ignited. However, before Li Huowang could study it thoroughly, the voice of the old man rang out again. Remember that each of you has only 8 hours to enter the secret realm. Once the time reaches 8 hours, one must return from another world. Also, always pay attention to the watches I just sent you. If there is an urgent message, I will notify everyone as soon as possible. The other world is very dangerous, and the elves inside are 10 or 100 times stronger than the real world. Even for the elderly in front of him, he dare not say that he can fully retreat in another world. In short, it's a very scary world. The people present are all hope for the future of the school, and the other party naturally does not want Li Huowang and others to have problems in the secret realm. But without experience, these children will definitely not be able to grow quickly. Therefore, the school sets a fixed time for everyone to enter, in order to ensure the safety of Li Huowang and others as much as possible. As for the watch mentioned by the old man, it was just distributed to Li Huowang and his team. This is a watch made from special materials, which will not affect even the shuttle space. In addition, this watch also has positioning and simple dialogue effects. Once an accident occurs, the school can contact Li Huowang and his team as soon as possible, and also know the specific location. So the school has basically done everything it can to ensure safety. If someone really has an accident, then it can only represent that person's life should be like this. So, wait for the old man to explain the precautions for about 3 or 4 minutes. He didn't nag anymore, but instead looked at everyone present and opened his mouth, which was missing several teeth. That's all for the precautions. Do you have the courage to go in first? Upon hearing this, everyone present turned to you and looked at me. No one rushed forward. When Li Huowang saw that no one had made a bold move, he was about to say that he wanted to be the first to enter. The tall and imposing Mu Yang walked forward. Before the old man could speak, he walked in as if he knew how to get in. Upon seeing this scene, the old man was also taken aback, but soon he regained his composure and muttered in a low voice, "It seems like a child who has already entered a secret realm." After reciting, the old man watched as everyone present continued to speak. How about it? Is there anyone else who dares to come again? Upon hearing this, Li Huowang, who was already eager, walked to the entrance. Upon seeing Li Huowang, the old man's expression changed noticeably. But soon his face also showed a kind smile. Is it your first time entering? Don't be nervous, just walk over. I just feel a bit dizzy when crossing the passage, just hold back. Listening to the old man's reminder, Li Huowang nodded. After taking a deep breath, he took a step inside. As he stepped into it, Li Huowang suddenly felt his head spinning like the old man had said. But after a moment, Li Huowang felt his dizziness disappear. Instead, a completely different forest appeared in front of me compared to the back mountain just now. The trees here are taller and the jungle is deeper. More importantly, looking around, Li Huowang could see large patches of elves appearing. The density of this elf is more than 100 times higher than that of the forest on the outskirts of Beichuan. And the level of these elves generally doesn't seem high. LV.8's big-toothed beaver, LV.13 circle mage patchulas of LV-17. Hey guy, do you think the other world is scary? But for Li Huowang, who can gain experience by defeating elves. This is simply a perfect paradise specially created for ghosts, okay? After 3 months of brushing in this place, Li Huowang couldn't even imagine how strong his ghost skills could become. 010, Ghost's Joyful Journey to Level Up. Being surrounded by bears. You are listening at novelfull.audio. During these 3 days, Gaisai had eaten the ghost gem and also consumed 571 pounds of food that Li Huowang had purchased for him online. This little guy grew very fast. 3 days ago, he was only LV.11, with average early strength. The current strength has reached LV.14, which is an average mid-term. Paired with ghosts, they embarked on a joyful journey and received blessings from the happy star god Ahaxu. Now his combat power has reached the level of elite elves. Therefore, when facing these ordinary level elves, ghosts basically treat them like little chicks. As soon as Li Huowang spoke, Xueyi also let out the villainous exclusive laughter of jia jia. Then he began his joyful journey of leveling up. As for these elves defeated by ghosts, there is no need to worry too much. Elves have a self-protection mechanism. As long as their injuries are not too severe and they are knocked down, they can quickly wake up and regain their mobility. As long as Gaisai doesn't die, there's basically no need to worry about the safety of these elves. As Li Huowang led Gaisai towards the depths of the forest in front of him, he began his journey of leveling with Gaisai. 3 hours later, in a corner of the forest. Ghosts, misfortune never comes alone. Li Huowang let out a sound, and Xueyi let out a jia jia laugh. At the same time, a ghost fire was thrown directly at the basin in front of him. The next second, a sharp and playful laughter sounded like a clown. Immediately after, there was a loud bang, and the ghost fire exploded directly. I saw several strange colors jumping out of the strange body of Pangkai and he fell to the ground without getting up. Ding, ghosts defeat the Ponzai monster of LV16. Experience points plus 78, ding, congratulations to the host, Ghost's level has been successfully raised to LV16. Listening to the system sound falling in his ear, Li Huowang's face also showed a satisfied smile. Not bad. Ghost's leveling speed is a bit beyond my imagination. Even the power of joy has been integrated into the never-ending calamity. It seems that this guy's talent is better than I imagined. The growth rate in the early stages of the happy life journey was indeed slightly lower. However, when Bangila was still in Kira's shoes, he spent 2 days brushing from LV14 to LV16. Now Ghost has completed it in 3 hours, and with this speed, Ghost should not be too far off on the second level of happiness. But thanks to the dense population of elves in this forest. Speaking, Li Huowang glanced around. Although due to Li Huowang's strong efforts in leveling up, the elves of the entire forest are all hiding from each other. But looking around, there are still many elves living in the entire forest. At least there are still more visible elves than those in the suburbs of Beichuan City. The more Li Huowang wanders in this forest now, the more he feels that entering this secret realm is a very correct choice. However, after 3 hours of leveling up, Li Huowang, who was following by, was already a bit tired. Not to mention the ghosts he responsible for leveling up. Nowadays, Li Huowang can clearly see that the gas around Gaisai has become much lighter in color. This sign indicates that Ghosts is currently experiencing some energy depletion in his body. As the saying goes, balancing work and rest, Li Huowang quickly called for Gaisai to return to his side. Then he threw the food he carried with him to Gus. Ghost's food is very unique and wrapped in white cloth, with a fist size similar to something like a sachet. There is also a yellow paper attached to the package, which contains ancient texts that Li Huowang cannot understand. This thing looks mysterious and mysterious, it feels like there's nothing inside when touched. At first, Li Huowang thought he had been deceived by the owner of the Miao food house into selling him air. But as soon as Ghost saw this food, his eyes immediately became straight. It is obvious that this food has a great attraction to ghosts. Later, Li Huowang was very satisfied when he saw Gaisai and ate it. At the same time, during this period, Ghost did indeed experience astonishing growth, and it was only then that he realized that this seemingly strange food had a significant impact. I really don't know who the owner of this Miao food house is. How can we even study this strange and peculiar food? I want to learn from her so much now. This small thing sells me over 1,000. If I learn, wouldn't I be able to make a profit? Although he said he wanted to learn, Li Huowang also knew that making elf food was not as simple as he imagined. And if he uses the time he spends learning how to make elf food to cultivate elves, he may be able to cultivate several heavenly kings. However, after running for over 3 hours, Li Huowang was also a bit tired. So, Li Huowang took off the elf ball from his neck and lightly threw it. The mountain-like Bangila reappeared by his side. Bangila, give it a hand. I'll take a break with Gus. Upon hearing Li Huowang speak, Bangila nodded. Immediately, he looked around and acted as a security guard for Li Huowang. Bangila is not only very big, but he also has a strong sense of oppression as he embarks on the path of destruction. As soon as the surrounding elves saw Bangila, they all fled as if they had seen some ultimate monster, afraid that they would be attacked by Bangila if they left too late. Seeing Bangila standing guard, Li Huowang closed his eyes and leaned against a small tree, squinting his eyes. There are still 5 hours left until the end of the secret realm. Li Huowang plans to rest for an hour first, and then use the remaining 4 hours to continue letting Ghost's firepower fully unleash for leveling. And this is when Li Huowang takes a nap. On the other side of the forest, a blonde girl and an elf who looked like a shark but walked on both feet were running wildly in the forest. Behind this one person and one elf, a 2-meter-tall, sturdy elf with a huge circle on its chest is roaring and crazily chasing the two. Damn it! Why are these circle bears still relentlessly chasing after me? Watching the circle bear chasing her desperately behind her, the blonde girl gritted her teeth tightly and nervously said in her heart. However, the blonde girl's reaction was quick. She quickly turned her gaze to a shark-like elf and said, "The sharp-toothed land shark uses mud shooting to block the circle bear's view." Upon hearing this, the elf named Sharp-Toothed Land Shark immediately nodded. As she ran, a brown-black mud clumped up from her mouth. The next second, she turned her head and began to shoot the mud frantically towards the circle bear chasing her behind her. Facing the sudden mud shooting, the circle bear naturally did not anticipate. Suddenly, mud shot into my eyes and covered them. The eyes are blocked, and now this circle bear should not be able to find our location. Seeing the circle bear's eyes stuck in mud, the blonde girl exclaimed with joy. Just haven't waited for the blonde girl to be happy for too long. A red circle appeared on the bear's hands in this circle. Then the same red circle appeared on the blonde girl and the land shark. Looking at the red circles on her body, the blonde girl was surprised. Oops, this is a skill lock. Damn it. How could this circle bear master this skill? Lock, a very rare skill that can only be learned by some mechanical elves. The function is to directly fix one's goals without relying on visual, auditory, or olfactory senses. Unless one is hit or voluntarily gives up, one will always know the location of the enemy. However, it is generally difficult for spirits like Circle Bear to learn. But now he has used it, which is enough to show that this ring bear has something. Seeing that she had been locked in, the blonde girl who had just been secretly delighted also said helplessly, "Forget it, sharp-toothed land shark, let's continue to escape. Once we leave this forest, maybe this guy won't pursue us anymore." Upon hearing the blonde girl's words, Fang Lu Shark nodded. Immediately, the two of them took another step forward and ran towards the front. But the direction these two are running towards is exactly where Li Huowang is resting. P.S. New book search for data.